Welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. Are you doing the best for your client to help them create their legacy? Are you creating a plan that goes far beyond finances to help people ensure that it becomes the driving force behind all decisions? On this podcast, hosts Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller will help you with growing your practice and your client's peace of mind. Together, they bring the best and brightest minds to share with you how to help your clients develop their best legacy. And now, here are your hosts, Katie Beth and Stan.
My name is Chris Baldino, and welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. I'm your host today, and my expert guest is Dean Kantaras. His focus is family law, and he serves the Tampa Bay area and all throughout Florida. Dean, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you, Dean. How long have you been working here in the Tampa Bay area?
Oh, wow. I was working when I was 15 years old. There was a grand union near my parents' home, and I was actually working at my dad's restaurant, but I wasn't getting paid for that. So my mom, I had complained. I did what is that, where you went on strike, I suppose, with my father. And so my mom found me and took me to the grocery store, walked in, said, I know he's 15 years old, but can you give him work? The manager said, okay. And that was the beginning of my work career. So I was 15 years old when I started working.
And in the restaurant industry, it's hard work.
Grand Union was the restaurant industry initially. My dad would get me up in the morning to go. He was trying to make pizza. So he paid someone from a local pizzeria, a Greek guy, to come and teach me how to make it. I was at the time 13, 14 years old. I made the pizza dough, the pizza sauce, and then the rest of the pieces, how to do it, how to spread the pizza dough out, how to do all that. Even when I went to Grand Union, I still had to go in the morning and set the pizza station up for the person that was going to come later in the day to start making the pizzas before lunchtime. So I was still doing both jobs. Didn't get paid for the restaurant one, but my dad kept saying, you have a house, you have clothes, you have food, you're getting paid. So that's what I did.
That training is so important, isn't it?
It's helped me immensely.
It's not easy. It's not easy to impart that same training to our kids because it's a different world today, you know? So I'm sure our listeners are thinking, well, how did Dean jump from pizza to family law? So let's go back in time. How did you get started and as an attorney, or how did that start with you?
Well, I'll go back when I was in Ohio. We would go to Greek school 2-3 times a week, and we had a carpool. One of the parents who had children in the carpool was a lawyer, Mr. Papps. I remember when he drove, I would fight with my cousin Gus to sit in the front seat to listen to him because I liked how the guy talked. I didn't know what he did. I just liked how he spoke to us and the way he conveyed himself. I asked my parents what he did, and that's why I decided I wanted to be a lawyer, just because he spoke, the way he analyzed things or discussed with us things. And so that was the beginning of that. When I got out of college, I went to USF. I went to law school. I had applied to Oklahoma City University, where my dad's friend, who was a lawyer, had gone. He told me the good things about it, the bad things. I applied to a bunch of schools. Me and this girl I was dating at the time, that was the one that she got into, and I got into too. So we went there. Ended up doing very well in school. Funny, the last semester though, I had to get an elective. Never in a million years would have I thought I would practice family law. I did take that elective though to fill it because the professor was Greek and I'm Greek, so I thought I had an advantage. Wow. So I ended up liking the class. Didn't like the subject that much. I liked the professor. Got done. When I got out, I was clerking at the state attorney's office. When me and a bunch of other people that were clerking there at the same time, they were trying to tell us where we would be assigned if we stayed there. The one place they were telling me was there was an office in Pasco. I think there was a Greek person in charge of it, so they thought I'd fit in there. I didn't feel like driving to Pasco to do criminal law. Actually, I decided during my clerking that I didn't like criminal law, but I definitely wanted to litigate. My friend said, hey, I'm in this firm in Hyde Park. They do personal injury and family law. And I was like, personal injury? Those guys go to court all the time. I went there. Yeah. I started, working on files, realizing the family law guys were going to court all the time. So I kind of gravitated to that side. And once I switched over to that side, at some point I decided I'm young enough to go start my own place. I want to come up with my own ways of doing things. And I left and started my own practice.
That's a great story. So it sounds like you had a few mentors growing up besides your father.
My father on the business side. He taught me initially while I wanted to do family law. He told me you do anything that comes in the door, which eventually led to me doing some immigration law too, because we're Greek and he had a lot of friends that were coming from Greece or had immigration issues. And so he was referring that work to me. I'm not so sure I liked it that much, but because I did it, I kept doing it for a little while. Now at the office, we do have an attorney and a group of staff that work on immigration matters as well.
Wow. It's the world we live in today, especially Florida, with a state like Florida. Immigration is that you're going to run across it and somebody's going to need help.
Yes.
So if we fast forward to today, can you tell me, we've been talking about you specialize in family law, but what do you feel makes you're different than others in your industry?
So that from the beginning, the litigation part, right? I really liked it. I was always into sports. I always thought it was very, part of being into sports was competing, and basically litigation is strategizing, coming up with a plan, and hopefully it pans out the way you want, being prepared, right? You can have the best plan, but you're not prepared, it's not going to go anywhere.
Sure.
And then implementing the plan and doing it.
Sure.
And so I had that advantage that I was like that. And then my motto is preparation, preparation, preparation. You can never be prepared enough for anything. And then, the implementation part combined with a big part is credibility, right? And the clients you represent and then maintaining their credibility. I'm not going to impugn mine for anybody. So as long as you can maintain your credibility, maintain your client's credibility and be prepared, it's a generally winning formula, right? And the more thorough your preparation and research is, the more likely you're going to find whether your argument has, air behind it or does not, right? Is it going to go anywhere? Is it not? So that's how I like to attack everything. I find it exciting. I mean, I've been litigating for 33 years now, more. I'll be 34 in February. And I just as excited today to do it. I'm in the middle of a trial now. At 2 days of trial, Wednesday, Thursday. Today I'm off. And then Monday, Tuesday, we finish that trial. I'm so excited about this stuff. You have no idea. When I know I'm in the middle of it and it worked out the way I wanted and the evidence came out the way it was supposed to, there's nothing better than that. And then the game proceeds, right? We have to now, they're doing their case in chief on Monday and Tuesday. And I've got things that I want to make sure that the court gets and we defeat some of the things they're doing. So no, that's the difference. I really enjoy it. And I like them so passionate and excited about it. I have all the people in the office, I'm constantly trying to teach them. I'm excited about teaching them. I'm happy to do this work.
That's awesome. So I'm just thinking off the top of my head what kind of an experience you're trying to deliver, but you basically just narrated that, your passion, you're professional, you prepare, you like litigation, so you want to win. So can you tell us a story about how you've helped someone overcome a struggle or get out of harm's way?
Certainly. Now, remember, it's deserving to win.
Sure.
Not just winning for the sake of it, right? I think that's part of the problem with my industry, and we'll talk about that later, I think, but deserving to win, that's important.
Sure.
So almost every single case, I was thinking about that, and I came up with the idea that almost every single case, I'm helping somebody avoid a problem, right? If I give them the right advice and I tell them, look, don't do that. The natural issue with people that are getting divorced is they want to give the other side, make it harder on them because you're leaving me, you're going to pay the price. And so they do these things machinations to make things more difficult, or to help themselves, they'll embellish. There's a thing that everybody has to file in a family law matter, a financial affidavit. It's an affidavit. It's an under oath statement about your financial circumstances, your income you're generating monthly, all forms of income, all of it, your expenses that you have to go through each month. And then there's a balance sheet part, which is basically what are your assets and debts and their current values, right? And how much do you owe on your liabilities? And then there's also contingent assets and debts at the end of that. And for some reason, invariably, the financial affidavits go directly to someone's credibility. And these people embellish, like a person who wants alimony, they estimate high on their expenses so they can maybe, I guess, fool the judge into thinking they need more money than they would get otherwise. It's almost like they're negotiating the price of a car. I'm going to offer this low number, and they go, no, we're going to go to this number until you can find common ground. But a financial affidavit really isn't that tool. And lawyers many times fall into that. So I think on a case-by-case basis, the fact that I help people avoid the trouble of losing their credibility by embellishing in the direction that they want to help themselves. The opposite side of that is the pecuniary spouse, or the one that's making the money or bringing it in. They'll enhance their expenses to show they don't have as much money at the end available, or they'll decrease their income and not include, for instance, their bonus. I'm doing this trial now, and this guy didn't include like a $40,000 bonus every year. Wow, right? I mean,
Sure.
how do you not do that? And so the other side knew about the bonus and didn't include it. I would never do that. In fact,
Sure.
I've fired clients for purposely trying to hide things from me or the office or the opposing side. I'm just not going to do that work. So I believe
Yeah.
I help people on a case-by-case basis.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I'm a financial advisor and financial planner, and we do financial plans for folks, and the expenses are so much important about that. And that tool, it can be used against someone if you have a plan in place. Most people don't have that plan in place. Well, they can pull out that piece of paper that says, this is our expenses, we all agreed to this, and this is our income, and produce that in court. And it's a tool, right? It's a tool. It's a tool to help people stay honest, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So you had mentioned before some misconceptions or some frustrations about your industry. What can you expand on anything that comes to mind?
Well, yeah, I think that's part of what I was kind of into the same vein of what I was describing.
Mhm.
Lawyers think it's about winning,
Mhm.
right? So if you embellish, then you're going to be okay. And if you can pull it off and embellish and get away with it, you
Sure.
did a great job. Truth is, they didn't do a good job, because 3 years from then, you're coming back to fix that problem because the person couldn't pay the alimony that you pretended the guy was making, or you couldn't pay the alimony that the woman really didn't need. And you suddenly see after 3 years, she's got a savings of a couple $100,000 because she's not spending the alimony, and
Right.
there's no savings component to alimony. So
Sure.
I believe the problem is there's a big portion of lawyers that think that prevailing is that you dupe the other side or dupe the judge into giving you more than you were entitled to, right?
Mhm.
It's this mentality that goes on. The way I like to do things in the office is I prepare and I want to know exactly what we're entitled to. And I will not get anything less than that. If they give us that offer to get to what we're entitled to, then I'm not going to trial.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the other sides don't like to prepare like that. People don't like to prepare until just before the trial is going to happen.
Right.
So they don't
Right.
know, making it more difficult to settle. And the more closer to trial you get, the more detailed I know our position needs to be. I've already met my burden. I'm much more likely to go to trial unless they gave us exactly what we're entitled to. Because, there's pendulum swings one way or the
Mhm.
other. Sometimes lawyers think that if they swing really high, that somehow we're gonna end up somewhere in the middle here, or they might get us to go more towards theirs. And my take is I have very small pendulum swings. I know exactly what their best case is and mine before we start to negotiate. So I
Mhm.
think that's part of the problem is lawyers they take a fly at it at first. They're not prepared. They're trying to maximize, or they're putting a show on. It's a dog and pony
Sure.
show. In my
Sure.
take is it's not a show. The reality is, if you're going to go to court, you better be able to support your facts. That's just the way it
Yeah,
is.
and there are plenty of Hollywood movies that, play off of that, right? The drama of the courtroom and the attorney acting in that way, and I'm sure that's frustrating. So with AI and the technology that's out there, Dean, where do you see your industry or field in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, I can tell you this from the support staff perspective, I do feel that's going to take a hit for the
Mhm.
actual people doing it. There's right now, Westlaw has an AI program involved, and Westlaw is our legal research and writing program and software that we get our case law and we get information and periodicals and things about related family law matters or law matters that are important. And so for instance, today we took some deposition transcripts, we took a pretrial order and two pretrial memos and dumped it into the AI to give us a summary of it. And I was just messing around with it. And it gave me almost as good of a trial outline as these associate attorneys are doing that are working on it for me. And
Wow.
I'm telling you, it took 30 minutes.
Wow.
It took more time for me to read it, another 30, 45 minutes. And that was like compared to 10 or 15 hours of one of the associates doing the same
Sure.
work. So just if you do the math, it's almost irresponsible for me not to do it. The only difference is, at the moment, AI does cite some cases that aren't there. It's an odd thing. I don't know how they do that, but they might be confusing it with other states or stuff. So sometimes you got to really go through and confirm it. But I'd almost take an hour to confirm it. that's still 10 hours less than the associate's billing, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've seen it in my industry as well in finance as a financial advisor. These tools are here to come up with ideas, but at the end of the day, you have to know your client. And with your experience, you can say that doesn't make sense. We're going to have to try this. But that prep work is a big deal. I can see that happening.
And that's the problem. I think it's going to cut out some of the experience, and that's the problem. The
That's a
younger
problem.
generation is going to miss out the
agree.
experience of developing into a trial lawyer
Right.
because the work that I had to do through my mind that got me to where I'm at, they don't have to do. They're just jumping in. That's giving it to them, but they don't know how to strategize now, right? You go to court. I don't know that AI can help you strategize, right? Can know
Right.
personality of the other witness or know identify exactly where they're lying while they're asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I just see that as well as when I sit down with a client or clients, I want to help them. I want to understand where are they in their head with their preconditioned what they're thinking. Well, I read something on Gronk or I read something on Chat GPT, the best way to do this or not. And you're listening to that and you're thinking that's not the best way for you. That would not work for you. That might work out of a couple, a percentage of 1,000 times. But in your situation, I would suggest you don't do that.
Well, and I think that's the problem with that. Why you still need the lawyer, you still need the planner from experience, but the problem is the next generation. What is AI going to be able to get to that point to put the human aspect involved? I don't think they can. So I see it. But for instance, AI, what I was thinking after doing that was I could be doing a deposition. I could take the information from the file, dump it into the AI, take the deposition, and as I'm asking questions, the AI could put somewhere on the screen what the truth is, could give me the information. So, oh my gosh, if they could come up with something like that, but that's around the corner now, right?
Sure.
There's two staff people that I can think of on every matter that are gone now for no cost other than the program.
Sure.
So yeah, I see big changes.
Yeah, big changes. So we live in a time of great change.
I can add to that. I have a friend that does intellectual property. It's patents and things. He had and it's impacted his business completely. He said he's gotten rid of 40% of his staff.
Wow.
So
Pros and cons. Yeah, we don't know where this is all going, but initially it's a tool that can help. I think, and that's your point. It is a tool that can help, but it needs the human part because at the end of the day, people want to do business with humans, right?
yes.
That human element is so important that AI cannot, and we don't see that happening anytime soon. Robots managing all this whole process. Well, Dean, what would you say is an ideal client for you, and how can people find you?
An ideal client for me is first someone that's going to follow instructions, right? That wants to learn, that's not going to tell me what the law is from their little Google searches. They're going to trust me and they're going to follow my advice, right? Sure. The best I find, ironically, in my practice, that a lot of my clients, when I go on a percentage, which is funny, I probably have more females than males, and it's probably like 75 to 25%.
Wow.
And I've always wondered why, and I believe that is a product of the fact that I believe females may be more inclined to listen and follow instructions and help, right? They'll understand, I need this information, can you go get it? Sure. Or I'm going to spend money getting a subpoena to get the records. It's going to eventually become much more expensive to do your divorce. A lot of times I'll tell a man, I need this and this, and they'll go do their own thing, and then I got to fix a problem. It increases the cost. They get frustrated many times, but when people follow instructions, it works. So the ideal client is someone who's going to trust me and listen to my advice. I'm the one that's done this forever. I've done it multiple times. They can't solve the problems, the custody problems, the time sharing problems, because nearly as well as I can. My solution is going to be the best possible solution. If they trust me and they do it, it always pays off. Invariably, the one that doesn't ends up spending a lot more money, and many times I'll get out because I'm at the point in my career where if I can help someone, I'm going to help them. If they're not taking my advice, they could pay me $1 million. It's not gonna make them happy, and it's not gonna make me happy. So,
what's that old saying? The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? And that's that straight line is your job is to stay on that line, and it'll cost less money and time for everyone. That's the whole idea, right? That's what professionals do.
They just need a trump.
That's the value of our profession, wouldn't you say?
Yes, very much so.
How can people find you, Dean?
So there's the website and, our office, the 3 locations that we have, but it's www.kantaraslaw.com. We, do family law, we do immigration. We also do some criminal law for our clients that do family law. We have people that do that. We have a lawyer that does civil and some business law as well, because these are all components of family law instead of having other people do it. So that's basically how it is. They would reach out, look up the name and Google it and search and look if we fit what they need. And we would do an interview or a consultation and give them a plan for what we're looking at.
Of course, of course. Well, we're at the end of our time on our podcast, and we want to thank our listeners for listening to today. And this has been the Expert Interview Podcast my name's Chris Baldino, and our guest today was Dean Kantaras. And for more information on Dean and the work he does, please visit our show notes below. Thank you, and I'll have a good day.
You've been listening to the Legacy Leaders Podcast with Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller. For more information on them and the show, please visit pinnaclelegacylaw.com. If you like what you've learned today, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.